ladies and gentlemen, Sam Battlefields here. Thank you very much for joining me back on this journey through the constraints-led approach. You may remember I had Slick222 join me a while back with a comment which I sort of debunked, I would say, thoroughly. He was very misinformed. He's come back and he's been fairly respectful, so I'm going to try and maintain a level of respect with him on this. So thank you, Slick222. I think his name on there is Hugo something. I could be wrong. Not Hugo. Dub Higgs. So that's his channel's name, Dub Higgs, but it's at Slick222. So so I just wanted to address a couple of things. I appreciate the Dub Higgs. I appreciate you giving me the opportunity to have more content and go through this, because I think that in some ways you may have you may have like a not a point, but I can understand why you're at where you're at. So let's just go through this particular comment. He said, specific training has existed forever, but every time someone tells Greg Souders he's doing specific training, he acts completely shocked and offended, then scoffs at them. Okay, here's the thing, right? What I've actually written out a response. I'm going to address your points, but I'm also going to read out my response because it's actually pretty good, if I do say so myself. So you've said now you're defending him, and the ecological method is nothing more than specific training. You guys need to make up your mind, or else the two of you aren't saying the same thing. Okay, I haven't listened to Greg now for probably, I listen to a lot of things, so we might be saying something different, so the Combat Learning podcast, he contacted me through a comment a few weeks back and pointed out, and I'll point this out later in my response, but specific training is actually a form of constraints-led approach, right? But to say that constraints-led approach is just specific training, that's where we get it. That's where it's wrong, right? So it's kind of what's that old saying? It's like all eagles are birds, but not all birds are eagles, right? So you can call specific training part of the constraints-led approach, but you can't say that it's only that all specific training, that's all the constraints-led approach is, right? There's a whole heap more to it. Now, depending on what you mean by specific training as well, but if, specific training such as, and check out my Kit Dale video for the comment that Combat Learning actually said this, but specific training for the most part is okay, we're going to start in side control, and you just got to get out, or you just got to get guard. Yes, 100%. If you've been watching my videos, that's what I do for a lot of my for some of my my constraints-led approach training. 100%. I'm not saying that specific training isn't CLA, but I'm saying that it isn't the only thing that CLA is. Yeah. So you guys need to make up your mind. I don't know what he's saying, but I would, I've read most of the thing. Well, I've read some of the things that he's read, and I think we're singing from if not the same song sheet, a extremely similar one. We be in harmony, but we might be singing different words. Let's just say that. Okay, so you agree that specific training is better than training without resistance. Awesome. Most great jiu-jitsu guys do both. Awesome. Again, this is what John Danaher was saying. My issues are that what an asshole Greg Souders is to everyone who disagrees with him. I mean, look, and how disrespectful he's been to everyone with his everyone else before me has been wrong style of marketing. And yes, yeah, all right. Like, I don't believe that he's been doing that. Honestly, I don't believe that he's been doing that. But you know, in saying that I'm not. If you've heard something that I haven't, here's the thing. Like, you know, I've listened to a fuck ton of his things, but I'm not thinking that I am. I've listened to every single word that the man said, but when I have heard him being abrasive, I'll call him abrasive. I wouldn't say that he's saying everyone else, me, has been wrong. He's just saying that. I don't want to put words in his mouth. From my perspective, everyone else, like, of course, we're standing on the shoulders of giants. All right. John Danaher said this at the seminar. You know, standing on the shoulders of giants, and in his words, you know, you don't want to get rid of that history. In my opinion, though, I'm actually on Greg Souders' side with this. Like, if you're not willing to move with modern, you know, to move with the modern times and create practice design around modern times, then are you really evolving with the times? I just don't think the fact that he's selling something old as something new. Like, when you say something old like this, you say it a bit further down here as well. It just doesn't sound like, very little you say about the constraints-led approach sounds wrong. It just doesn't sound new. Like, I played tons of sports and they all isolated parts of the game, within the parts of practice. Like, again, like, you're seeming to take this. Yeah, I'll get to that. Blah, blah, blah. Okay, if you act like an asshole. Look, that's your opinion, and I can see that. He's abrasive. I get it. All right? I'm not gonna defend the man. I don't need to. I'm my own man. I've done my research based off what he pointed out to me, what I've looked up myself, what my coach has pointed me towards, and I've come to, you know, my position on this like this, right? So I'm not defending Greg. So if you're conflating me with Greg, as you can see, I'm not trying to be a cunt. I can be, bro. You should see my other channels, man. Like, I am an asshole. Like, honestly, I came up through Bullshido being an absolute cunt online. I mean, genuinely, I was a prick. All right. I'm trying not to do that here because I genuinely think this is something that can help the BJJ community, or, you know, just in general, people who are doing this. I genuinely believe it can help. It's helped me, right? So very little you say play. Here's the thing, like, Higgs and Gracie has claimed partial training, specific sparring, whatever you want to call it, special sauce, Hodger Gracie. How he had nothing but white, so blue belts. He taught each of them a small part of his opponent's games and specific trained. Xander Ribeiro, however you pronounce that, same story, it's told a million times. Again, yep. Also, let me just here we go, and he says. Anyway, thanks for interacting and trying to pull back the tone to some kind of decency. Yeah, and I appreciate that that you're not sort of pointing the finger at me here either. But, you know, as I said, I can be a prick if you want. I just don't see any point in it. Like, I'll let Greg do that. I like his approach. I didn't think he was that abrasive. I knew he was abrasive, but I didn't think. I just think there was so much pushback, and when you're on a junket like he went on, where you're just constantly getting asked the same shit over and over again, sometimes by the same people. I mean, like, you know, I've got massive respect for Stephen Kesting, and yeah, man, he just kept on getting hung up on the same things, and I don't, you know, I got massive respect for the guy, but you know, he kept on coming back to the same thing over and over again, and I was like, man, like, if you understood the theoretical underpinnings of this, then this wouldn't be a factor. You wouldn't be asking the question like, but I don't understand how you can teach an armbar. Well, once you understand the theoretical underpinning, you realise that an armbar is kind of a function of the game that we're playing. And now I sound like Greg Soud as fuck. I'm genuinely not trying to. As I said, I've just read, like, you know, I'm halfway through this. I've read this. I had the 2 Rob Gray books on Audible, and you know, I punched through them. So anyway, I'll get to my little response here, and I'm going to post this because I'm going to post it with a link. I'm happy to have this chat online. You know, and even in like an interview situation, maybe we get on like Google Meet or something. So Slick222, dub Higgs, I'm happy to do that. But I do want to read this out. So here's the thing: you're catching bits and pieces here and there as to what CLA is without an understanding of the theoretical underpinning of CLA and how it fits in with ED. You're making massive assumptions about what CLA is and are stating your position as fact. That's my issue with how you're presenting yourself. As Combat Learning Podcast commented on one of my videos, specific training is CLA, but it is only a part of CLA. You could do specific training and say you're doing CLA in your classes, and I wouldn't argue because you are constraining your practice. However, to say that CLA is only or CLA is simply specific training, that is where I have the issue. Okay, so I strongly suggest you read Rob Gray's book, How We Learn to Move. It will give you a greater understanding of the underpinning to CLA. I promise you it's worth it, even if you don't get on that sweet gravy train that BJJ provides those like me who are looking for an income. Ooh, I'll finish that. Thank you. And that was sarcasm and facetiousness. Keep in mind that Greg has not put out, he's not even sold, I don't think he sold an instructional. He tells you to go to his gym for free to try it out. Like, you know, to act like the man is a con man, or to say that the man is a con man is rich, like, honestly. So the other side that you seem to be missing about CLA is that every single BJJ class I've ever been in, up until finding CLA recently, and only really finding it because of GS and his abrasive making noise in the game, is it follows this structure. Warm up, listen to coach waffle on about concepts, mechanics, and things to watch out for, things to keep in mind, a step-by-step breakdown of the technique, dead drilling with a partner, which might warm you back after you've cooled down. If enough time, rinse, repeat with another technique. If enough time, do it again. Maybe some specific training that there's a low chance you're pulling off either technique you just learned because everyone else is going to know you're trying it. And then free rolling, right? And that's a 90-minute class. So some classes are only 1 hour. You can condense that down further. Look, if your class structures are dramatically different, let me know, but I doubt it. And when I say let me know, I'm being serious, man. If you want to get on a Google Meet and hash this out, you know, I'm happy. You're more than welcome as well. You're more than welcome to come down to Brisbane and have a workshop with me, like, and see what I'm doing. But one of the reasons, and I don't mean and I mean dramatically different, not like my coach on the waffles on for 5 minutes, not 10, and we do 3 techniques, you know. How do I know this? I've trained at more than 10 different gyms around Australia, Sydney and Brisbane, I've also assisted in the creation of lesson plans for one of the largest franchises in Australia, and of course I've watched countless hours of instructionals and classes from BJJ, Fanatics and more. Fanatics. Look, I've been doing this for 15 years. This age model, quite frankly, it sucks, alright? Like gigantic sweaty donkey ball suckage. I don't think that's even how Greg Souders sort of talks it, but you know, in reality, it's the, hang on, this right here, the most dangerous phrase in business. We've always done it this way, alright? And that's our good friends at Forbes, right? So, boom. So, here we go. If you're not looking to evolve, that's fine, alright? In the last 3 months, since I've been doing this, I've bridged more gaps in my game than in the last 5 years. I mean, in the last 3 weeks, my close guard has gone from being a vehicle for the person to get into my half guard, essentially, and now it is probably like one of the most active things I have, and I will fucking destroy you if you're in my close guard. Alright? Maybe I sucked, and this was something that clicked with me only, which would make sense if there wasn't a massive body of literature around it, right, and evidence proving its efficacy from all walks of life. My class structure is drastically different from the above, like night and day. You do not cool down in my classes, all right? You're sweating from the moment we begin to the end. We have these short insights chats after the game, all right? So I don't sit there and go, right, you need to put your leg here, you need to do this, why are we doing this? Because of this, blah blah blah. I go, no, we're going to be in this position and your task is X, alright? And then after it, we discuss why. You've seen why, you've seen some of these tasks that I put in place. The insights is probably what I should be recording, and now that I think about it, that's what I will be recording in the future. But yeah, so, but some of the things that, you're sweating from the moment we have these things, there's no cool down, everything's ready for action, injuries have reduced significantly, cardio is off the charts, and resilience is off the charts, mentally and physically. I can promise you, I've been doing this for a very long time, alright? And I'm sure people have been doing it for much longer, but I'm not just a white belt, I'm not a blue belt who's suddenly enamored by this shiny new fantastic little thing. I've been doing this a long time. I've been doing martial arts in general for my whole life. Like, I know what I'm talking about in this respect, alright? And I can promise you that until you understand that theoretical underpinning, you are going to continue thinking that all it is specific training, when there is a vast landscape of opportunity to improve your training if you just understand the underpinning behind it. Anyway, I'm going to leave it there because this is a very fucking long video. I really appreciate you commenting. I will put that in, and I'll also add in my Instagram that you can contact me on. So if you want to have that chat, I'm keen to have that chat. Much love. Cheers. Like, comment, and subscribe.